Uh-oh. Ah, ah, ah. Uh-oh.
Does everybody know what time it is?
Home and podcast time.
That's right. Binford Tools is proud to present a home improvement podcast. My name is Adam. Y'all know my co-host Jordan. The Long and Winding Road, Part 3. Jordan, if I sound somber, it's because we're almost done with this dang thing.
Yeah, I told my mother-in-law as she left today, I only have 2 episodes left.
And she said, of what?
She said, you're still doing that?
She's like, and who are you?
Why am I here? Yeah, 2 episodes left. This, the penultimate episode.
Yes.
Wow. I'm glad that you reused that song from the last episode.
So, hey, they reused the same title, so what do you know?
So we might as well do the same.
Right.
Yeah, I noticed a little bit more deliberate delivery from you. I know you don't want to mess up on such a serious episode, so.
Yeah, I was trying to go slow. Just sort of, have it reflect how I'm feeling, which is somber, kind of understated, dare I say, melancholic.
Mm-hmm.
And you yourself, you were quite cranky before we started, and I'm just going to choose to assume
Podcasting with the cranks.
Is that our spinoff? Just cover that like a lot. That'd be fun. No, I was going to say...
minute by minute.
You're probably bringing that attitude today just because you're having such a hard time sort of...
I don't know how to let go.
Right, yeah. Processing your emotions and stuff, so...
Everyone grieves differently.
Yes.
And this is the way I'm going to grieve, with Fists of Fury.
And this episode has a wedding, but this podcast is kind of having its wake in many ways.
We're still back on dead weight a couple episodes ago. That's where we're hanging out. So.
How are you doing today, Jordan?
I'm doing pretty well. Sun's shining. Starting to cool down a little bit in Florida, which is always a great sign. So, what about you?
Doing well. Fall is in full bloom. Neighbors below here in the apartment have like wind chimes that I wish they didn't have, because it's starting to get windy, and you're definitely going to hear them throughout this recording. Just some casual wind chimes. Feels like a 4th of July barbecue sort of. Wind chimes are nice during the summer if you're outside at a bonfire. Do I need to hear them every time the wind blows in Milwaukee? Well, maybe not, but
conceivably not. Are you on the top floor?
3rd of 5.
3rd of 5, right in the middle then. So you got, how are those upstairs neighbors? Clodhoppers?
At times, yeah, but I probably am as well. So you just gotta accept that,
Yeah, I mean that's what happens when you got apartment life,
Yeah.
But that's the way it goes.
We're not, we can't all just sort of financially.
We all can't have a penthouse. We all can't have 3 McMansions.
Yeah,
all that kind of
financially.
stuff. Well, all that ad money you just fold in, you might be able to afford the top floor now.
I'm thinking about it. Yeah, I mean, you've been blessed in so many ways. Monetarily, obviously, is the biggest one throughout your life. Some people are born with a silver spoon. You just straight up had a gold spoon, and you've sort of parlayed that into a, extravagant life.
Everything here is made out of diamond.
And
Adam.
I toast you for that.
Toast.
No, Jordan. We're just sort of BSing here because this is the last home improvement episode. I mean, traditional home improvement episode we're ever going to talk about, which is a strange feeling.
It is.
Was it sad? I'm going to get into that as we go on.
Is that going to be like a season in summation thing? That you're gonna talk about it then? Or?
Well, I'm going to talk about the ultimate sort of just the way I felt at the end of this episode and whether or not I was sad versus what I was feeling. But we'll get into that as time goes on. But yeah, hey, if you're here listening to us and you've been with us for a long time, thanks for being a part of this journey. We're not quite done yet. We'll be back next week with our series in summation. But in many ways, this is us sort of closing a door on the podcast. So if you're newish, thanks for being here. If you've been with us for a long time, thank you for being here as well. What are we covering today? Is it an important one?
I think it is.
All right.
It's episode 203 out of 204, I should say.
Yep.
The Long and Winding Road, Part 3. Mm-hmm. This one They've got a three-headed monster right in this one. They've got Bruce Ferber,
Yeah.
Lloyd Garver, and
Okay.
Marley Sims.
Yeah.
Ferber and Garver, they lasted Young at Heart with Jenny McCarthy, and Marley Sims lasted Love's Labor Lost. But three heavy hitters in home improvement writing history.
Ferber treatment, really.
Ferber treatment. I don't usually talk about the directors.
I know, yeah.
I don't know why
important.
we didn't, but we should.
Yeah.
And we've got John Pasquin,
He back.
the pilot director, and did 39 episodes during the run. So it's nice to have the kind of the bookends of John Pasquin.
I think so too. Yeah, and am I correct in that he directed the Santa Claus? Is that the same guy?
Yes, same guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's cool. Kind of a cyclical thing. You started it, you finish it.
Yep, they're just like us. We started the podcast. We never brought any other co-hosts, and now we're finishing
I did
together
have
as well.
tryouts for a little while.
Behind my back.
Yeah,
no less.
around year 2, but they would not agree to edit every episode every week, so I decided to stick with you.
You needed someone to take advantage of, and I was the only one willing to do that.
That's right.
This episode aired May 25th, 1999.
Let me ask you, did you watch this live?
I have to imagine I did, but I don't have any memories of it. I don't have any memories, really, of watching the original run. Most of my memories come from syndicated versions and rewatching on, like, TBS in college and stuff like that. So
I remember watching it live. I remember where I was sitting, where the TV was, very, very vividly. I remember the whole build-up, because it was just such a big build-up. I mean, once they found out this was going to be the last season, ABC really amped up the ads, and it was a lot of sort of tear-jerking sort of stuff. But I definitely remember this, and I remember how I felt when it ended. I remember how my family felt, and I will save that again, for the end after we've covered it. Before we get into this show, I do want to pull up an article that I found that sort of covers ratings for this episode.
interesting. Can't wait to hear it.
Would that be a good time? Would now be a good time to do that for you?
I can't think of a better time, honestly.
Okay. Well, as it loads on my computer, which is...
Do you want me to give you a couple of trivia notes I have written down
I'm
here?
good. I'm here. All right. So
Okay.
this is from People magazine, I would assume at the time, not as opposed to .com. So here we go. Finale, Final Home Improvement draws big. The final episode of ABC's Home Improvement drew an estimated 35 million viewers, making it the fourth most watched series of the 1990s, series finale. The show, which starred Tim Allen, went off the air Tuesday after an 8-year run. Only Seinfeld, Cheers, and The Cosby Show drew more viewers during their finales. During the 90-minute feature, next-door neighbor Wilson revealed his face for the first time since the show began. The show had a 21.2 rating and a 34 share, meaning, and I want to really emphasize this, a third of the television sets in use at the time were tuned into Home Improvement. Isn't
That's
that insane?
Insane.
Yeah.
Insane.
Imagine that. Yeah. I mean, that's the big takeaway. I mean, 35 million, I'm a little surprised The Cosby Show beat it out, but that was a beloved show. Same with Cheers, and Seinfeld, of course, is one of the biggest ever. But 1/3 of the active television sets on. I mean, it's just
There's nothing...
No, nothing will ever be like that again besides the Super Bowl, maybe. I don't even think the Super Bowl would do that well.
Yeah, I don't know if the Super Bowl does that well.
Yeah.
Wow. So crazy.
Wanted to share that.
Wonderful thing to dig up there from People Magazine. Just a couple of quick trivia notes before we get into alternative titles. Obviously, we know, and we've talked about, JTT did not come back. Only regular cast member not to appear in the finale. They said, aside from Pamela Anderson, who left after season 2. So,
I mean, what a tremendous misstep,
Disappointment.
disappointment. I don't necessarily know who it falls on, but yeah, I mean, he absolutely should have been here for this.
Bizarre. And the song performed by the Tool Time K&B band, I don't know what to call them,
Right.
Burning Down the House, is originally recorded by new wave band Talking Heads, which I've
The
never heard
Talking
of
Heads. You
before.
never heard the Talking Heads?
I might know some of their other songs.
I like them a lot. They sing Psycho Killer, which you probably would have heard, but maybe didn't know it. Yeah, I like the Talking Heads, and they're very popular. I like that this person categorizes them as new wave. I don't know. All right.
I don't know what else is new wave, but Talking Heads must be.
Yep.
Alternative title time. I have 4.
Well, I got 6, Jordan. It's the last one, so I gotta bring. I don't know if I brought the heat, but I do have.
I like that both you and I went up 1 from our normal.
Yeah, you're like, well, I usually do 3. Obviously, it's the last one. I want to do 4.
Right. Yeah.
I might even. You could argue I have 7.
There's an argument to be
There's
made.
an argument to be made. Yeah.
Pundits have been discussing whether it's 6 or
Could be
7 for the last
yeah.
24 hours, and we're going to get down to it right now. I'll let you go first since you have a plethora.
The Long and Winding Road, Part 3, a.k.a. a finale tailor-made for tears.
Oh. How about The Day the Tool Stood Still?
Ooh, I like that. How about I'll Miss You?
How about On the Fence about Indiana?
How about No Offense, This Fence Has Got to Go?
I'm glad you weren't feeling fenced in
No way.
for that one. All right, this one's probably as good as your Al one, so I guess I will say it. Tim the EP Taylor.
Like it? I do not want this show to end.
Oh.
Because of the wedding, yeah.
Yeah, no, I didn't get it. I didn't understand.
Okay.
All right, my last one. Home is where the house is.
Really good. You actually brought the heat on the last episode here, which you should be proud of.
I'm very proud.
So it's kind of a two-parter, so just stick with me. An offer he could refuse, a.k.a. offer I barely know her. I mean, I got to get one in there.
Which is funny because I did an offer she couldn't refuse last episode, so it's nice to hear that.
And then my
again.
last one, Mark's big hole. Just kind of wanted to get it out there one more time. Because I can't imagine a scenario where I would be able to say that a lot more. So, yeah.
Is there any scenario that you could say it again?
Make a friend named Mark. He digs a hole. He leaves. You're like walking around and someone's like, hey, what is that? And you're like, oh, that's Mark's big hole. But I don't know how probable that is,
Seems unlikely.
Okay.
Unless maybe we stage it. We have to pay someone.
I don't even know any Marks.
That's tough.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's your last one, right? Mark's big hole?
Yeah. Yeah, I went out with on a high note. Duh.
All right. Well, backstage on Tool Time. The last episode. How many times can we say that?
I'm a lot more.
Okay.
And if you don't like it,
you can get out.
we're almost done.
This is the final episode walkthrough here.
I'm gonna stop holding back. I've been holding back for 203 episodes. Yeah, I'm done.
Okay. Backstage on Tool Time. Al is ready to go out on top. We're ready to go out on top. But really, inside, he's a wreck, just like you and I are. Mm-hmm. And he's talking about all the things he's going to miss, including the put-downs by Tim. And Tim says, they don't have to stop just because we're not going to do this anymore. Not only is Tim and Al and Heidi, they're all preparing for the end of the show, but Tim breaks another bomb, or drops another bomb on them.
No, he breaks it. It's a broken bomb.
It's a It didn't even go off.
Just right. Here's a bomb. I broke it. Sorry, guys.
It's kind of a dud.
It's not dangerous. It's just broken.
Tim breaks the news about their move to Indiana, and Al really, he has a tailspin almost here. He's just out of control. Heidi isn't ready to say goodbye. But you know what? There's lots more changes happening because Heidi's pregnant. Al's getting married. Does that mean Heidi and Scott are having another baby? I forgot about Scott, but the last time I remember him, he was kind of a darsh.
Yeah, they're still together as far as I know.
Wonderful. Wandell, whatever he pronounces his name as, comes in, and he ruins the mood, the melancholy mood, and just kind of turns it to sour. The plan for the last show is to burn down the set, and he kind of leaves after, the usual kind of interaction with him and Tim, the strife. And Tim says, you know what? We've got different plans. We're going out on our terms, and they're going to go out with class. No stupid accidents.
Mm-hmm.
And as he's saying that, he is burning his hand on what looks like a waffle iron.
That's what I had. Yep.
I don't know why would they have a waffle iron?
Maybe for the next day they do that surge protector thing. So maybe it's just something they had plugged in.
Mm-hmm. Perhaps.
All right.
That's it for the opening scene.
May I jump in?
Yes, please.
Okay. Waffle iron gag, little too Home Alone for me. Okay, stay in your lane. Heidi was able to blow a line here in her final episode. That was good. I don't know. It's like when she's trying to tell off Morgan Wandell, but she's got a little bit of a mush mouth, kind of minces her words a little bit. I don't know if you noticed that. Did you notice?
I didn't.
Okay.
No, it's nice that they didn't refilm it.
I know. It's like, are we just like, is there an actual deadline? Are we trying to get out of here faster? Yeah. And then the beginning, I don't know. The whole thing where it's like, Tim is like, I'm moving to Indiana. And they're trying to focus on the positives. And he's like, Al, you're getting married. And then Heidi jumps in and says, yeah, and I'm pregnant. It had like a real like Wizard of Oz kind of feel where it's like, and you were there. And you were there. I don't know. It just rang really false to me. I thought the whole like opening scene was sort of, I don't know. I know that everything on the show is phony, but it really seemed very like staged and choreographed and kind of unnatural to me.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying, especially about like the Heidi saying she's pregnant thing. It felt very out of place compared to everything else going on.
And I'm pregnant. Well, wow.
All right. Well, I guess we're wrapping everything up. Everyone's got their storyline.
I know. It was funny. All right. As far as the opening scene goes, I don't know. It's whatever. Fence. I think we should play a clip for the second fence scene.
Yeah, that seems fun.
Yeah. All right. So Jill's setting up for the wedding, Al's wedding specifically. Wilson and her have a conversation here. She hasn't been able to make the call yet. She hasn't accepted the job. Man. Let's just do it. Let's get it done.
Will they, won't they, huh?
Yeah, that's one of the things that annoys me about this episode is like, let's just have that figured out so we can kind of move on. You're not fooling anyone with the are they or are they not going to go. I don't know. She's looking for advice. She wants him to tell her one way or the other whether, she should stay or she should go. She talks about moving as a kid and how difficult it was for her with the colonel.
It's been a while since she brought that up.
Box up your stuff. We're going to Cleveland. She put down roots here in Detroit, and she's going to miss it. Wilson tells her there's no limit to what you can accomplish. They hug. She knows it's time to make the call.
It's real bittersweet right now.
Mostly bitter.
Wilson, Wilson's a good neighbor having these conversations with them, because obviously he's torn up, right?
Yeah, it's hard for him. He says, I'm not going to tell you I'm not going to tell my best friends that they should leave, but, it's a good opportunity. She does bring up the fact that there are probably opportunities as good in Detroit, which was something I was sort of thinking about last episode. And if that is the case, let's just stick around, but.
Well, we'll see what happens at the end of the episode, huh?
Yes, we sure will see.
Well, now we're back on the last Tool time here. So it's post intro. There's kind of some weird cuts here. You can tell that they had to get rid of some stuff. So you can hear the applause that already happened from Heidi's introduction, and then Tim makes a comment here about Al will be doing infomercials for Living Borland, which is just kind of funny.
That joke hits pretty loud. Was he already doing them?
He must have.
Because the audience
the only reason
loves
it makes sense.
Yeah, the audience loves it. Yeah.
Otherwise, this is a time travel episode, and they didn't tell us.
Otherwise, they just really cut their funny bone for no real reason other than it means his career is going to go downhill. I don't know, but
lots of clapping, obviously here. Tim solves the problem that Wandell has set up for him very simply, and they. As they're panning around here, Tim is going to say, we're going to do something else. They're going off script, blah, blah, blah. And we see the family in the crowd. We saw Brad, we saw Jill, and Mark holding up a camera. Why not?
That's copyright infringement. or there's some kind of illegal thing he's breaking there. You can't film that.
Yeah, it is a bit strange, isn't it?
But Mark the auteur, Quentin Scarantino at his finest.
I just thought, this is peak Mark, where it's we just don't know what we're going to do with Mark in the last episode. We can't have him just sit in the audience, enjoy the episode. We have to put a camera in front of his face.
There was a while in this episode, later on, when I was thinking, is Mark going to have a line? Because, it goes pretty close to the end before Mark actually has anything to say, and I thought, man, it would be wild if in the finale they didn't have Mark say a single word.
They just kind of cut him out.
Yeah, they're like, you guys know what the score is, right? Yeah.
So Tim brings out the Tool Time All-Stars.
Well, should we just briefly explain what Wandell wanted him to do and what he solved?
Yeah, so I guess this goes to your waffle iron thing.
Yeah.
He just wanted him to, like, plug in too many things into an outlet and start an electrical fire.
Right, but they solve it with just, like, yeah.
Like a surge protector.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's kind of weird. This episode is, like, everything felt pretty rushed. Would you agree? Like, this opening is just, like, kind of, like, strange, and he's like, well, he wanted us to do this. Here's a surge protector. We're done. And it just, I don't know, it just felt kind of strange to me in that way.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like a lot of critical thinking was done.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Maybe that's the way to think about it.
Yeah.
So we get the Tool Time All-Stars. So we bring out the K&B boys. We bring out Janine, who played the Saw a long time ago. So that was like the end of season 1. Nice to see them back.
Janine Ray Heller, specifically.
Ray Heller. So they start going to work right away, you know, playing that song, bringing down the house. I don't know if you laughed here, but they start bringing out everybody else, and so like they bring out Sparky on staple guns.
I was so happy to see, because we were talking a while back if we were going to see Sparky again, and actually I think we've seen him twice since then. So yeah, getting Sparky in the finale, very satisfying for me.
He just seems so happy to be there,
and
too.
he's cheesing with those dumb staple guns he's playing. Oh man, classic Sparky. You can't start a fire without a Sparky, you know?
No way. Yeah. And then they bring out Eddie from the body shop.
He's on the shock absorber. Is Eddie a bigger character than I realized? Because
he doesn't belong here. He's the one person who doesn't belong.
I don't need Eddie in this scene.
Like, if they're going to bring out Eddie and not Bower Socks, what are we doing here?
Yeah. Or, in a second we'll think of more people that maybe would have been more deserving. But yeah, Eddie was just sort of like, I don't know.
We got Felix the Plumber. I think he's worthy.
Happy to see Felix. I didn't even consider him. So yeah.
Poor Mario Andretti.
He's on horn, and he's got to wear his dumb suit,
and just like a wheel. Not even a wheel that makes noise, just a wheel.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah, you go ahead and finish. I'll jump in at the end.
Oh my gosh. So Tim and Al, if you recall the first time this happened with the K&B boys and Janine, they had their measuring tape, and they were playing that. This time they got out some blowtorches. Tim ends up lighting a banner on fire. They're all having a good time, and obviously the fire department's there, so nothing too bad happens. Nope. And, you know, after all, he almost burns down the set. Yeah,
I really like this. I think it's the highlight of the episode for me. I just thought it was fun, and it's a nice way to bring in these people that you maybe wouldn't see otherwise, although a lot of them are at the wedding kind of inexplicably at the end, where it's like, did Al like these people more than I realized or whatever? But yeah, it was a little bit too short for me. I wanted more, and that's sort of what I'm talking about, where the episode was just sort of rushed. Like, I could have used more of this. They spent way more time on, like, the grease thing a while back.
I guess I didn't love this.
Oh, really? Okay. Why not?
Maybe because I just thought, like, Sparky shooting staples out of a gun was stupid, and Eddie just being there didn't make sense, and then, you know, when you bring out Andretti with a wheel, it just... I liked Tim and Al. Here's what I liked. I like K&B boys playing their song.
Of course.
I liked Tim and Al with the blowtorches.
Yes.
The rest of it I didn't... I appreciated that Felix was there.
Yeah. Well, you love Andretti. You always have.
No, even Sparky to a point. Like, I'm fine with him. It's just, like, seemed really stupid.
I'm not going to argue that it wasn't stupid, but I think in terms of things they could do, this is probably as good as it's going to get. I like the song, too. Did you see the guy playing the harmonica?
Yeah, man. He was playing it all right.
Who is that?
I feel like we've seen him before. I feel like he came when they did this last time or something.
Well, I was like, I know everybody else here, but this guy playing the harmonica. This is odd. Let me see if I can find him.
He just seemed familiar, that's all. He was kind of like Norman, you know?
You know what? I'm wondering, Bruce Ferber is listed as uncredited. It could have been him.
Is that what Bruce Ferber looks like?
Yeah, Ferber treatment. You know, he's a cool guy. Rock and roll.
I don't think that's what Bruce Ferber looks like, though.
I don't know. I'm just telling. That's just a theory, because Ferber did play somebody in this episode, and that guy very definitively got like his own standalone shot for some reason, and that would maybe be a nice way to pay tribute to a guy that had.
Do you want to Google, can Bruce Ferber play harmonica?
I just want to Google Bruce Ferber pictures Hope I don't get any spam.
It doesn't look like him to me, but in all of his pictures he's wearing glasses. So I don't know. Maybe that's throwing me off.
Okay, yeah. I'm going to say, let's just chalk this up to a home and podcast mystery. Never going to be solved.
Unsolved mysteries.
The next
home improvement
Untrepid
edition.
Home Improvement podcasters can figure that one out.
Oh, man.
All right.
So it is. Let's just say it's memorable.
I liked it. I'm not going to say it was really good. I felt like I had something else to say. Man, Sparky with those staple guns, though, like... I'm not gonna forget that for a while.
No, I mean, if we all could just feel the joy that he felt when he was running out on set.
Don't be surprised if I turn that into sort of a GIF and send that to you in about a year, apropos of nothing.
It would make me happy.
All right, and that's it for Tool Time. They do light the banner on fire, like you said. Was that what Morgan wanted them to do, or is that just sort of like a? Is that sort of that?
That's an accident. That's Tim.
It was an accident, you think?
Tim.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's it for Tool Time. Pour one out. Fence. We're going to play a clip.
Where's my can?
The last time I looked, it was below your back and above your knees.
Where am I supposed to put the garbage?
Hey, give it to me. Jill moved all your trash cans over to my side so there'd be more room for the wedding.
This fence were here, we'd have so much more room we could push the chairs all the way to one side.
You know, Tim, you're right. We could have all the chairs facing this way.
Right, and I would build the arch in your yard.
Well, why don't we take the fence down?
Well, we certainly could.
Huh?
Well, should we?
We can always put it back up after the wedding.
How come we've never thought about taking this fence down before?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe we didn't want to reveal too much of ourselves.
Well, we went ahead and revealed everything anyway.
Yeah. Let's take this sucker down.
I got a hammer, I'll go get it.
No, I got some tools over here. Take what you need.
You got a pry bar in there?
Yeah, get it. Okay. Oh, boy. Oh, no.
What's that?
How many times do I have to bury you?
Wait to hear the latest news. After the final show, Benford was practically begging me to come back to work. He offered me more money, executive producer.
So now you're thinking about staying. Please, Tim, do not toy with me like this. You people are wreaking havoc on my emotions.
Calm down. The decision was made, we're moving. It's just that they were dangling a pretty big carrot in front of me.
Yeah, well, you gave that carrot up for Jill. She must have appreciated your generosity for that.
Actually, she doesn't know about this. I don't want this to affect her decision, okay?
You're a good man, Tim. I'm gonna miss having you as a neighbor.
You've been a good neighbor too, Wilson. An odd one. Hey.
Yeah. All right.
Wow! Now we can see everything.
Does it look any different than you thought it would?
Your fly's open.
So, Tim and Wilson, this is it, Jordan. This is their final scene, and you know, I'm not gonna say that I felt sad a lot throughout the episode, but this scene did sort of bum me out, and I think was pretty effective.
Yep.
Yeah, you're with me. You know, it's not that they get into anything real specific here. It's all kind of surface level, but like, I don't know, it's just nice. And the fence scenes often were very nice, and it just sort of gave me a warm feeling, for lack of a better term.
This should have been the end of the series.
Well,
The
yeah,
scene.
that was
it wouldn't have made a whole lot of sense, but this is the feeling that you should have had.
I 100% agree. That was a question that I already had prepped and primed to pose at the end. So
Sorry.
no, it's okay. Let's pick that back up at the end, though.
Okay.
So basically, what comes of it is they're going to take down the fence so that they have more room for Al's wedding. They kind of consider why they never did that in the first place. There's a line about they didn't want to reveal too much of themselves, but Tim said we went ahead and did it anyway, which is a nice line. Wilson hands Tim a toolbox, and there's a shrunken head in there, which I thought was pretty funny as far as a final Wilson gag. Tim talks to Wilson about Binford kind of begging him to come back because of the success of the finale, which is, why would that have been really successful?
I don't know. That's another thing that just doesn't quite make sense to the whole
Yeah, I agree.
storyline.
Although I will say, like, the Binford begging Tim to come back with more money and, like, an EP credit maybe felt a little bit meta to me, you know?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
I don't know if that's intentional. I guess it probably would have been. But yeah, I'm assuming Tim Allen, he already had an EP credit, but, like, just throwing more money at him, trying to get him to continue. Tim doesn't want Jill to know, which is, I think, a nice, it's a very principled approach, and he doesn't want to sort of make her feel more conflicted than she already does. As they remove the plank of wood from the fence, they shake hands, and Tim sees Wilson's face. I guess we're supposed to imagine for the first time, but I'm sure he's seen it before. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Did I miss anything there?
Yeah, I mean, they shake hands through the fence.
Yep.
It's wonderful.
It's quite nice. Wilsometer. Let's get a reading, Jordan.
The final Wilsometer.
I'm seeing, like, I don't know, 200 degrees. This thing's topped out. This scene is hot.
I feel like I'm on Venus.
Oh my god. Which I'm assuming is quite warm.
You don't know your planets?
No. No.
Yeah, it's hot.
Wow.
It's bursting through the thermometer.
I guess, upon further thought, this is probably my favorite scene in the episode. This is better than the Tool Time scene. It's really
You're
nice.
going to keep saying that as you keep going.
No. I promise you I'm not going to continue to say that. There's a little bit of a dip in quality as the episode goes on. So,
yeah, it's a great scene. It's very heartwarming. You get the, I don't know, you get all the feels.
Yeah, it encapsulates what was probably one of the best parts about the show is the fence segments. I mean, it's certainly one of the most famous parts of the show. I think as time went on, like I mentioned before, I maybe didn't appreciate it as much because I think they ran out of things to do. But when you think of Home Improvement,
it's one of the top three things.
Yeah,
you think
for
of.
sure. You think of that and maybe Al and the flannel or whatever. But yeah, this was one of the best parts of the show, and it was given a nice send off. So I appreciated that. All right.
Day of the wedding, huh?
Yeah, you want to pick this up?
All right. We are at the wedding. We see, I mean, since the fence came down, they expanded how the seating was going to be.
Oh, yeah.
It looks beautiful. I mean, it looks great. Tim made a great wedding arch. And you're going to see the whole gang here. So we got Harry and Dolores.
Back from Arizona.
Yeah, they flew in. It's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nice. Their arms are tired, though.
Marty, Jeff, Benny. Benny doing his usual taking bets at a wedding.
It was cool that Marty got a line. He didn't get to speak.
It's amazing how much Marty was a part of this last season. It
Probably
is just
still
amazing.
pays him, like, he gets, like, checks and stuff for it.
Yeah,
for showing
those
up.
royalties.
Yeah, it's probably good. Yeah.
Tim is in on the bets after kind of making fun of it, and we see inside real quick. I mean, there's not much. I mean, besides seeing it's a beautiful wedding, all that kind of stuff.
Jeff is there.
I said Jeff.
Yeah, but did you mention? All right, so Tim has a bet. He's like betting that Al's wearing a flannel thong, and Jeff says, "I want in on some of that thong action," and everybody's like, "What's this guy's deal?" It's a really nice send off for a Jeff character that everyone had a lot of respect for from day one.
And just when we were thinking that Jeff was the better brother,
I thought Jeff was cool. I guess I was wrong.
I still think he's cooler than Marty.
Sure, yeah.
All right. We go inside and we see Wandell has a special gift for Tim. He comes to the house and Jill receives the gift. She basically wants to like throw him out immediately and says like we have a million things going on, and he's trying to convince Tim to stay and how everything's all changed, and he quickly learns that Jill doesn't know all about the overtures that Binford has been making and tries to guilt Jill into it until she throws him out. So Wandell, a piece of garbage through and through.
He says he might get fired. Man, okay, so like let's think about that. He comes in and like immediately tries to change the show. He changes it, and then
Bud gets fired.
And then they do like kind of a throwback show, but really it's just like sort of a send-off that's kind of only popular probably because it's their send-off. Maybe that's probably the only reason it was really well received. Otherwise, they do a lot of song and dance stuff on there. And because of the success of that, he will get fired if he can't get Tim back. I don't know, I'm just having trouble tracking that.
It just seems like the higher up management of Binford Tools is really in turmoil right
And I'll
now.
tell you what, it's good Tim's getting out because, yeah, the culture there just seems rough right now.
Does seem rough. I was also thinking to myself as we're having this conversation, why wouldn't Tim be able to do this from Indiana? Like, I know you're going to have to get maybe different guests, and it's going to look a little bit different.
Yeah.
But
I don't know.
seems plausible.
Yeah, you got to get Al down there. How are you going to get Al to go to Indiana? I mean, it's a tough sell.
I guess so.
All right, here's what happens. You just, like, Tim drives up or flies up just, like, 2 or 3 days a week. They knock out all the episodes, and he goes back home. They could have made it work.
They could have made it work.
Yeah.
Jill spends a moment thinking about this new information that really is going to change everything.
Yeah, she does. Wow, what a conflict. Outside. I mean, just, like, I don't know. I just think that this overcomplication, like, did anyone when they were like, do you think people in the moment thought they were going to stay, maybe? I guess maybe.
I think I watched a different episode than you did.
What do you mean?
We'll get to the end.
Oh, I guess you think it's up. I guess there are things up for interpretation, maybe. Huh. Well, now you got me curious. Have I been? Did I read the episode wrong? Okay, well, whatever.
I think you might have. One of us read the episode wrong.
Well, that's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, let's get there.
Okay. All right. So, wow. Okay. If I'm wrong, man, I'm gonna be floored. Because this has literally been my reading has been how I've been reading the show for 20 years. So that would be really surprising if I had read it wrong. All right. Brad hits on Heidi. She's not having it.
What a transition.
What?
What a transition.
Nah, nuances out the window. Jill gives Tim a big ol' smooch because she knows what he's given up. They can't really talk about the opportunity, or rather, she can't talk about how she knows about the opportunity Tim's passing up because the wedding is starting. Cal and Al, up there, looking good. Trudy comes down the aisle. I wish I had any sort of feeling for this. You know, it's just like the Trudy stuff just...
It just didn't work.
They just never... It could never work. Yeah, they didn't spend enough time on it, / they ran out of time, but, like, I don't care about this at all. And I wish I did, because I know they want me to. But
And it's a bummer because Al is, like, a very central character.
yeah, I think
You should care.
They should have brought Eileen back and had that. I would have at least cared a little more about that.
You want Eileen to break up the wedding? Is that what you're saying?
Wouldn't have minded it. Hey, you want to keep the show going? Have that happen. What a finale. Wilson is officiating, and he's covering his face with the Bible, and it's a good gag.
That is the biggest Bible I've ever seen.
Well, he's got a big face.
Jeez.
It must be a Gideon's Bible or something, huh? Real big. Those are bigger, right?
I don't think you know what that means.
Is that a real small one?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I was being ironic. Must be a big old St. James Bible, huh? Okay.
All right,
Those are the
keep
two
going.
kinds I know. Or a door Bible. And we cover that in the Spooktacular.
We did. Yeah, we did. That's coming up for you spooktacular folks.
All right. Later. I guess we just cut to later in the wedding. She mentions Trudy is talking. She wants kids. Al recites his vows. Karn looks good here. He really, I don't know, he's looking trim, got the beard
Cleans
cut,
up nice.
cleans up well. Note here, will Mark get a line? Wasn't clear to me at this point if he was going to. Al gives his I do with too much enthusiasm and sort of salutes, and he pokes Trudy in the eye. She's probably thinking, what am I getting into?
I actually kind of laughed at that.
Not bad. I laughed at the next part where Wilson says, on behalf of the Church of the Celestial Moon, and everybody looks up. I thought that was it was funny that he said that. It was also funny that everyone sort of looks up to the sky. I thought that was pretty good. And then there's obviously, you know, it's been completed. Applause and fets
It's been completed.
The wedding has been completed. I obviously have not been married yet because I don't know how it works. There's applause and the bets are collected by Benny and the likes. So,
Adam, did you notice there's a Twilight Zone mention here?
you know, as you say that, I feel like I did catch that, but can you refresh my memory?
I don't remember the exact line, but Al gives like they're doing the vows, and Al says something, and Tim says like something about the Twilight Zone.
Oh, is that one of those things where it's like, oh, this day is so weird. What is this? The Twilight Zone? Oh, wow. I forgot to...
Al says something really weird, basically.
I missed a loop in my belt. What am I, in the Twilight Zone? I hate it when people say that. It drives me nuts. It's like you're not using it right.
You don't know what the Twilight Zone is.
Clearly you've never watched the show. Well, you know, we used to say, Jordan, that the garage was a place of great turmoil for Tim and Jill. But in this scene, it's kind of the opposite. And I'll let you expand on that.
Wow.
How's that for a transition, you son
what
of
a... Jill takes Tim into the hot rod, and I thought things were going to get a little frisky here. It wouldn't be Home Improvement without some sex.
No, it wouldn't
but she wants to talk about Binford instead, which probably also turned Tim on, because he loves tools. But
certainly turned me on.
She says this is the least, or he says this is the least I can do. Jill just comes out with it and says, you know what, I don't want to go to Indiana. She doesn't want to leave here. As you mentioned earlier, she says, I can find a job like that here, which is true. Mark and Brad come in, and they get to join the conversation. It's great that the family's all there, except for Randy.
Mark gets to talk here, too, so.
This is Brad's line. Or Mark's.
Mark, yeah. Really memorable. He's like, we're not going.
And I just wrote, we're back in the air again.
Wow.
We're up in the air.
Yeah, I tell you what. This movie might as well have George Clooney and Anna Kendrick in it, because everybody in this scene straight up in the air. Did we see that in theaters together?
Did we? We saw The Men Who Stare at Goats together, I feel like.
Yeah, we definitely saw that together. I thought we saw Up in the Air together. All right.
We might have. We went and we only saw George Clooney movies together.
I think George Clooney's fine, but I don't know why we would have limited ourselves to that.
It was one of those things where you thought I really liked Clooney, so you're like, hey, Jordan, do you want to go see?
It's like, well, I guess, my buddy's a huge fan. Well,
we're going to see Leatherheads next because it has John Krasinski and George Clooney.
What a letdown that movie is. Yeesh. Do they go on a drive in the hot rod here or no?
Just in their minds.
Okay, because I kind of couldn't tell. Like, do they go out in a drive? No, like, do they go out in a drive and that's how they figure everything out, or do they just go back to the wedding? Because it kind of seemed like it could have gone either way.
I think they just ended up going back to the reception.
I think you're right too, but I don't
think there's an hour between the wedding and reception here.
Well, yeah, they do that now. They call it the
cocktail hour.
Cocktail hour, yeah.
I don't know if Al can afford a cocktail hour.
Trudy can.
That's true.
Judy,
that's Trudy.
Judy, give me that booty.
So yeah, maybe a car ride was in order. I don't know.
This is a little bit too ambiguous, this finale. I feel like there's a couple things I maybe didn't get.
I think you're gonna go watch the final scene after this.
Okay, well, let's get there. We're there, shockingly. Well, no.
Yeah, we're at the reception, kind of.
We're kind of there. I'll go. Wedding. Back to it. Cocktail hour has ended. Tim makes a speech. It's not super memorable to me. I don't know. I didn't write anything down from it, so
I just wrote it's sweet. He just says some nice things about his friend. It's a very nice Tim and Al send off because this is what they get, you know. And then finally he mentions Trudy or whatever.
Right.
So
had you have given me an opportunity to speak at your wedding, I probably also would have said nice things.
There is a reason I didn't let you speak.
Well, you should have seen the speech I gave at Anthony's wedding. Brought down the freaking rafters.
Well, after you made me read it and give you some notes.
That's true. All right. Al makes a speech as well. Talks about how it's been a difficult year. He's obviously citing the loss of his mother. Kind of just shifts attention to Tim and sort of missing him, and forgets to mention Trudy at all, which is kind of funny. Did you notice how many young children there were in the audience for this wedding?
Oh, I didn't pay attention to that at all.
There's at least 10 small children. I was thinking who do these kids belong to?
They're all Harry's.
I think they're they're Benny's illegitimate children. All right, later, nighttime.
Oh boy, wait, before you do this.
Yes.
Final scene of the podcast.
This is the final scene. Why don't you do it? Because maybe I didn't understand it. So go ahead.
All right, so this is the same night. It must be late because I'm sure that party was rocking.
Let me get my tissues. Got them.
Tim and Jill are cleaning up the wedding. I don't know where everyone else is. I guess.
Why isn't Al? Well, I guess Al's gone, but like I don't know.
Well, Al and Trudy, fine. It's their wedding. Go do something else.
Yeah, somebody else should be helping.
Yeah, where's Benny at? He should be doing
Where's
something.
Wilson?
He's sleeping one off.
Judith came over for a booty call.
He's doing some celestial moon business.
Okay. That's what I call it.
So it's time to reminisce about when Tim and Jill were married, and they talk about how they had no idea what would happen, and their whole future lay ahead of them, and one of them poses the question to the other. I don't remember which ones. I think Tim proposes it to Jill and says, "Would you do it again?" And of course, what if she said no? I don't know. That'd be kind of a different
Dark
ending.
ending.
But she's yes, we didn't know it was coming. It was bumpy, but I wouldn't want to travel with anyone but you. Nice line. Tim says, I would change one thing. I would pick a more romantic spot to propose. I don't remember where he said he proposed. I don't know if he wrote that down.
I missed that.
I think he was talking about maybe the car or something.
Yeah, sounds about right.
There's a little makeout session. This is our sexy home improvement that we get here.
Not
to end it
sexy
up.
enough, though. I wanted to hear a fly being unzipped.
Adam is left unsatisfied.
Yes.
And Indiana crops up, the conversation that we all want a solution to. And Tim says, it's about you, not me. And Jill says, I'm going to pass it up. I just can't imagine leaving this house. Yeah. Which gives Tim an idea. He says, maybe we don't have to leave the house if we do go. And a thought bubble pops up. The house is on a flatbed, and they pull it with a tugboat, all this kind of stuff. From this, I thought they weren't moving. I thought they stay.
Oh my god, I'm so sure they move.
I don't think they're moving.
The thought bubble.
Do you think he's really gonna somehow rip up that house?
Yeah.
First of all, why does he need a tugboat?
That show is, hey, Jordan, this is Home Improvement. They do stupid shit like this all the time. The thought bubble pops up. The house is out of the truck. Tim's driving with Jill. Then they're taking a tugboat. He says we can do this if it has more power, and then he grunts for the final time. They definitely want you to think that this is what they're doing.
I don't think so, because I feel like Tim's response was, if we decide to move. It wasn't like, we're doing this. Tim says, it's up to you, and Jill says, I'm not moving.
Yeah, but he has this idea, and because he has this wild idea, this is not a show that is going to insinuate things and then not do them. It's not an imaginative show in this way.
I don't think it's happening. I think they stay.
Oh my god. Wait. Man, this is going to be a great poll. I think, let me go to let's check some things here. Let's see what the internet
the Home
thinks.
Improvement Wiki.
The Long and Winding Road Part 3. Let's read this, because, man, I my whole life I've thought that they went.
I thought that too.
I was
when
disappointed.
I watched the episode, I think it was left up to interpretation.
Okay. Well, here we go. When she wistfully says she can't imagine leaving the house, Tim begins thinking they won't have to, envisioning carting the entire house on a truck and trailer and then on a barge towed by a tugboat. So it's definitely ambiguous.
I didn't get the idea. It's the line before that says, Jill, in a quiet moment alone with Tim, finally admits that she's ready for the next step in their lives. I didn't get that from that scene at all.
Well, that would indicate that the next step would be leaving.
Moving, right.
I really
I don't think they move.
I really think the show wants you to think they're moving. It is definitely more ambiguous than I remembered, but I feel like the show, man, I don't know. I never thought we'd get to the ending of the show and have it not be clear as to what happened. Yeah, man, they left. They definitely left. Do you honestly believe they stayed? I mean, I'll give you the fact that it's a possibility that they stayed, but would you say that you're certain that they stayed?
I'm not certain one way or another, but I'm hedging my bets towards saying. Jill says 4 times in the episode she doesn't want to go.
Yeah, I know, but
that's her last thought from the car on is I'm not going.
Yeah, but his whole thing is we're gonna do what you want to do now. It's your turn.
She says, I don't want to go.
She says, I don't want
to. And she says, I can find a job here.
She says, I don't want to leave this house. And he's got an idea. He's got one of his crazy Tim Taylor plans that they don't have to. And when the show presents something like that, it means it's happening.
I guess so, but I feel like they don't move.
Okay. Well, in any case, roll credits, fade to black.
This is how the podcast ends.
The Long and Winding Road, Part 3. I mean, like, okay, let's divorce ourselves from the fact of whether or not it's not clear.
I mean, I just found a Tumblr post that says, it's up to you.
Well, Tumblr, I mean, if it's...
I mean, homeimprovementfan.tumblr.com.
Tumblr, I barely know her. Okay, let's try to separate ourselves from that for a second.
Okay.
At the very least, the final scene is a dud, and I would imagine they would like a do-over on this, don't you think? I mean, it's a stupid, like, the thought bubble thing is dumb, and, like, the fact that the final thing we see is, like, him maybe imagining taking the house on a tugboat, maybe really taking the house on a tugboat, and, like, saying something about more power and grunting. It's just, like, weird and kind of abstract and not at all effective. Like, I felt like the final scene was a major dud. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, especially in light of seeing how they sent off Wilson and Tim and their relationship, it just felt, like a bummer. The problem is they keep going back and forth on will they, won't they move to Indiana, and we're more like, just make a decision and wrap things up.
Right.
That's where the audience is, you know? We're not like, are they going to stay or not? Because, like, ultimately, who cares?
The show's over. Right, yeah. Like, I don't know. I mean, yeah, that's sort of the gripe with this episode is, like, we've spent, I mean, the part 1 was, like, the back and forth. Part 2 is the clip show, but it's still, like, are we, like, we're assuming they're going to go. And then part 3 is, like, backtreads and is like, well, maybe we won't go. Let's complicate this. Let's draw this out. And, like, no one likes this sort of ambiguity.
It's almost like the dream sequence thing where he wakes up and it's all a dream. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
It has the same type of thing behind it.
I would have rather they did that because then I would actually be certain of what they did. But, like, I don't know. Yeah. At the very least, this, like, the fact that the final shot of Home Improvement is the house on a tugboat and, like, a weird voiceover isn't very effective. Like, I want the scene at the fence. I want Tim and Jill hugging. I want the cliche thing where they turn the lights out or, like, they close the door or something like that. Like, I want something that gives me a little bit more warmth instead of this, like, wait, what? It's just, like, confusing and kind of strange. And I remember watching when I saw it when I was young, I definitely thought they were going to Indiana, and I think my family did too. And I was just like, we were all just sort of like, I didn't really like that finale. Like, I remember being, like, sad because the finale was not what I wanted it to be.
Even if they would have just, like, sold the house to Al and Trudy, and like Al and Trudy are going to start their family in the Taylor house and be with Wilson or something. I don't know. It's just like,
or they sell their house to, like, a young couple with 3 boys or something, and then it's like, well,
or 3 girls.
That would actually be better. Yeah, passing the torch or something. But this is just sort of like, what are we doing? Are you going? Are you not going? It's just, it's not. I think they kind of blew. I think they definitely blew the final scene. As to whether or not they blew the whole episode, Jordan, let's head on down to Castle's Corner for one final time. Highs and lows of this one. What do you think?
So, I do like that they did bring back a lot of characters. Unfortunately, the way that they present some of these characters, like Sparky, is
hilarious.
Perhaps a little strange. But you know, it's good to see Benny and Harry and Marty, even just to see them one last time to get that closure. I think we all need that closure.
Well, certainly. Yeah.
Lord, do we need it? And we finally get Al happy with Trudy, so I guess that's good. Unfortunately, as we've talked about, the relationship doesn't quite hook us, even as Al and Eileen did, because we just don't get enough time with them. So that's unfortunate. Yeah, the best scene in the episode we've talked about a few times is Wilson and Tim at the fence, taking down the fence and shaking hands and stuff. It's everything that you would want in a finale and a send-off, and a good way for them to depart. So that's definitely my favorite part of the episode. And I guess I like that Tim's finally come around to, like, I don't know. I guess if we're going to talk about Tim's behavior at the start of the series and how very self-centered it was, and even 2 episodes it was for for 2 minutes, but at least he gets there. Trying to think of what else. Big bummer, no Randy.
Right.
To end the series. The Tool time. I maybe I didn't like the music as much as you. I thought it kind of went on a little long. So
interesting.
That wasn't a high for me. Okay. Trying to think of what else. I don't know. I still feel like they didn't move. I'm gonna watch the scene again. Okay. I'm probably wrong just because I feel like that's. I remember too the first time watching it being like, oh, they moved to Indiana. Yeah. That's what I had in my mind the whole time. Maybe it was just me just reading into what I wanted.
I mean, it's definitely way more ambiguous than I remember it being. Did you think this episode was funny?
No, I didn't think it was really trying to be though.
Yeah. Did you think it was especially emotional?
Not as much as
the clip show, right?
Yeah, unfortunately.
So,
really, the only scene that I felt like was emotional was Wilson and Tim.
That's kind of my problem. And I think that are you finished with your discussions?
Well, I was going to say in the last scene, I felt like it was getting there with Tim and Jill, and then as you said, they end it with this tugboat thing.
Yeah, it's stupid. I think the finale is probably a little better, or it's a little more satisfying than I remembered it being, and probably a little better than I thought it was going to be. But on the whole, you watch that final scene, and I watched the final scene, and I finished my notes, and I kind of closed my laptop, and I thought to myself, I'm not really that sad, I don't really feel much of anything, because that is just sort of a bizarre, sort of strange ending, and it just sort of, like you said, it sort of cut off a maybe more meaningful, sort of heartfelt conversation between Tim and Jill in favor of whatever it is they want us to think they're doing at the end. So, I don't know, I don't like that final scene, and I definitely don't like the tugboat thing. It's just sort of a real head-scratcher for me. So, yeah, in terms of a finale emotionally, the clip show is a lot more effective, and even, Tim parking his car and going in and saying, this is the final Tool time, I don't know, at least that's something. That's a satisfying ending to an extent. Overall, I really like the fence scene. We talked about that enough already, but that's what you want. That's how they should have ended the show. That's sort of what a finale should be doing. I like the Tool time thing. Admittedly, I like the song. I think that probably helps. It's good to get those people in there, sort of just get those faces and sort of pay tribute to those guys. And it's fun. I felt like it wasn't long enough. I know you kind of feel the opposite, but I could have used more of that. Does everybody get their moment to shine here? No, but what are you going to do? I think there's only so much time in a 22-minute episode. Karn, the wedding just didn't really do it for me because I don't care about Trudy. I mean, I'm glad the character's happy, and, it's good that he's married off and looking ahead to the future, but that didn't really satisfy me. So the fact that the whole episode's built around that is sort of just a shrug for me because that relationship never really worked. Kids don't get much to do. I feel like the kids were kind of just really on the sidelines of this one.
Was Brad's send-off hitting on Heidi?
I guess, which maybe actually that's the perfect send-off for that character. But Mark certainly didn't, but what are you going to do with Mark?
I'm surprised he wasn't filming the wedding.
The opening is kind of weird, but it doesn't really matter. Basically, it's an episode where I really like 2 of the scenes. I like the last scene pretty well until they undercut it with this weird boat gag and the voiceover. On the whole, I think it's an okay finale. It does a couple things well. I think they ran out of time, and I don't think you want to have an ending to a show where it's not clear to 2 guys who have been analyzing the show for 4 years what exactly happened. Probably not what you want, but on the whole, it's an okay finale, and that's all I got to say about that, Jordan.
Are there, going back to the Tool time...
Oh, yeah.
Are there any characters that they missed that they should have brought back for that? Does Bowersox deserve a moment?
I kind of think he does if you're doing... if you're doing
Eddie, the body shop guy?
Yeah. Who else is on a lot?
That's what I was trying to think. So obviously we have the Andretti's. Even Bob Vila came on a couple times.
Yeah, shouldn't Vila be there? Or no,
Vila, just disappeared after 2 seasons. He was, the main nemesis, and then he just disappeared.
Yeah, well, as far as we were concerned, that Bob Vila stuff was never that good.
No, yeah, we didn't like it.
But everybody else seemed to really like it. So, yeah, I mean...
Trying to think if there's anyone else.
I'm going to
head.
IMDb right now to see like if there's, major people that showed up that would have been missing from this. I mean, Bowersox is a good one. Vila... Pam Anderson would have been nice to have on, but like I get why she's not there. Let's see here. Oh, here's one, and this is something that maybe we'll talk about more next week. But the Milton, I don't go in for that sort of thing guy.
Oh, sure,
would have been nice to have him there. I mean, I know that he never had one character that he played, but
he was all over that
but
place.
It would have been nice to have him in the background. Who else? Looking, we get Felix. What about the waiter? I mean, I'm kind of glad he wasn't there.
Serving something.
Would have been pretty random. Parents, and it's like I'm looking at credits. Yeah.
I mean, I guess there really wasn't that many
Art
repeat
Leonard
people. Yeah, he's not a repeat guy.
Bowersox, Bowersox is in more episodes than Andretti.
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, Wes Davidson, Joe Morton. No, they're not really missing anyone besides Milton and Bowersox. Those would be the two big ones, but I kind of get why they didn't have either one of those guys on. But I also didn't really need Eddie, so.
Yeah, Eddie just felt really out of place.
It's like, oh, wow, Eddie. I remember you from 2 episodes, So.
And I don't know if he ever really came on Tool Time.
What about, he was in the Talking Head video that Mark did a while back.
Oh, great.
What about Cooking with Irma? She comes out with like a hot souffle.
She's dancing.
Oh man, it's interesting. It's a weird feeling. We'll tie a bow on everything more so next week, but yeah, it's an okay finale. I wasn't as disappointed as I thought it was going to be. So. All right. Well,
Episode 203, The Long and Winding Road, Part 3, in the books.
now we got to talk about the entire season.
Yikes.
Season and summation. Are you ready?
I am ready, after this quick commercial break.
Okay. All right, so we both rewatched the final scene. Jordan, you still feel the same way. I feel
even more strongly my way now.
I feel the exact same amount of strength, but I do feel that they ultimately moved. One thing I wanted to say that I just noticed is like the house that they have on the truck bed is so obviously different than the actual Taylor house. Like for one, it has like this like long front porch that the house definitely never had. So that's kind of funny, but. Yeah, Jordan. I don't know. I think they did move, but
You're wrong, but that's okay.
I guess just me and most of the 35 million people
that's fine if people don't actually listen to what they say, but that's fine.
Well,
we could spend 20 minutes maybe talking about this, but I don't think we're gonna get anywhere.
I don't think so either.
Instead, what we're going to do is talk about Season 8 in summation, and we're going to do what we usually do. So we're going to talk top 3 episodes, bottom 3 episodes, best guest stars, and season MVP.
I always do worst guest stars as well. Because I'm extra mean.
Yeah, you're a bully. Yeah. But
what do you want to start with, Jordan?
Let's start with top 3.
Let's talk about just Season 8 in general.
Okay.
I expected a major just erosion decline as the show sort of came to an end. And, while there were certainly some bad episodes throughout and the ending was a little bit rushed, on the whole, I got to say I was pleasantly surprised. I enjoyed more of these than I expected.
Yeah, I would say they were middling more than anything.
Sure.
Just a lot of, very average episodes. So I agree. And I felt more that way when I was looking up bottom 3 episodes, top 3 episodes. I didn't feel like there was a really cream of the crop or,
nope.
Just like garbage.
So. I agree. Okay, cool. Let's get into top 3. Go ahead.
All right, so this is no particular order for me, but I'm going to start with the earliest one in my top 3, which is Adios, and that is the send-off for Randy Taylor as he goes to Costa Rica. If I recall, there's a couple of really good send-off moments that we didn't really get in the finale here. So there's kind of a send-off between Randy and Tim, and then obviously Jill and Randy as well, and then even the brothers at the airport. So
Yeah.
there's just kind of a good tone set there for that whole episode, and seeing Randy, and obviously he's such a big part of the show for the first 7 seasons, so to see him leave and not really come back in season 8 except for the Christmas episode,
Which is an absolute bummer. Yeah.
which is a giant bummer. You know, it was obviously left an impact on me, and I think it was pretty effective in what I was trying to do. So
Yeah, I like this one as well. I had it as an honorable mention. You know, I like to do honorable mentions, but I agree with you. It's again, like, it's a little bit rushed, but apparently that his departure must have been that way. And it is a very satisfying scene there at the airport, kind of everybody getting their moments to say goodbye. So. I do go in order. So number 3. So top 3 episodes. Number 3, I have Chop Shop Till You Drop.
that's on mine too.
Wow. Okay. It's just a lot of fun. You know, it's
It's hijinks. It's tool time. Our home improvement hijinks.
It's and we don't get a lot of I don't know. Yeah, you know, I love seeing a plan come together. Said that a few times, but I really like the costumes and I really give them a lot of credit for the fake out wherein it looks like they're both going to be dressed as women, but the camera cuts away. That's just a certain level of cleverness that you don't often get on Home Improvement. And that kind of scene at the end where they're in the chop shop and there's the camera. There's a lot of good jokes throughout that episode. I like sort of the mystery angle and Tim taking things into his own hands. It's like you said, it's Home Improvement hijinks at its finest. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I don't have a lot else to add there besides, I mean, it was obviously memorable since I remember the specific type of jelly that they had, but,
Yes.
you know, they bring
Salt in the wound, Jordan. Jeez, you want a technicality.
Sorry. You know, we get a call back to Al and Tim in the prison, in the jail a long time ago.
That was crazy.
That was kind of crazy and unexpected.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of silly and fun, and there's not a lot of that in season 8 necessarily. That's enjoyable. So, I don't know where this would rank if I were to rank them in my 3, but it's definitely on there. So
Cool. All right, do you want me to go again?
I can go for
Okay, go
my
ahead.
last one here. That's fine. My last top 3 is The Long and Winding Road Part 2.
Ding, ding, ding. I also.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's crazy that a clip show made this, and maybe that does speak to maybe a little bit less quality in season 8 or just less high quality episodes.
I would just chop it up to the fact that the finale itself, the final episode, wasn't that emotionally satisfying, and this one really was, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So we've got, you know, obviously all the old clips, so we get to relive some of the past glories. We talked about how the transitions from the car into the clips is actually pretty effective, which is kind of a bit tough to pull off. So. Yeah. So I don't know. It was the best, one of the best clip shows I can ever remember, and made you feel all the things you wanted to feel. So
Yeah, and I think, you know, for everything the final episode didn't deliver, the clip show did. So you get Randy, which you're obviously missing in the last one. You get to see a lot of faces and relive just a lot of fun moments. And yeah, they really pulled it off in a way that I didn't expect, with the car kind of being the sort of grounding vehicle, pun intended, for the episode, and then just being able to sort of transition in and out. And yeah, it was, and I like that damn song too, you know. It's really good. Yeah, when I think back to the show and sort of the ending, I think I'm going to think of The Long and Winding Road Part 2 a lot more than I think of Part 3, except for the fact that there now is sort of a conflict between us about what happened. But yeah,
seems only right that we should have a controversy like that.
that's true. All right, that would have been my number 2. My number 1, Jordan, was Bewitched, the Halloween episode.
It's a good episode.
Yeah, I'm apt to like a Halloween episode. Home Improvement always did them well. I just, like you said, there wasn't like a clear-cut best episode like some seasons. And this one was among the most fun episodes we saw. You know, you get the whole thing with it's like, now that I'm trying to describe it, do I remember it? There is a question as to whether or not Tim murdered someone, and there's like a big setup. It's a prank with Jill and the boys, and everyone's in on it, and there's those cops that are maybe cops, maybe actors. It's kind of scary. It has good atmosphere. I like the party at the beginning. That's just fun.
Tim in the flying monkey costume is
yeah,
pretty
that's
good.
funny. The actress playing the quote-unquote witch is good. And yeah, it's just, I like prank episodes. This is one big prank. It's a little bit spooky, and it was fun. And there wasn't a clear-cut best, so I'm going to default to the Halloween episode.
Spooky.
So, honorable mentions.
That's not bad.
I have a couple of those. I mentioned Adios. Love's Labor Lost Part 2. I thought did the emotional stuff pretty well. Tim is, Jill's sort of recovering from her surgery, and Polly Holiday's there. She gets a nice sort of send-off, one of the better send-offs anyone got, and I think that's a good episode. Mr. Likeable, where Al is in a soap opera, or movie of the week or whatever. It's kind of fun.
That's a little Home Improvement hijinks as well.
It's wild.
Actually.
It's definitely really wild. I like that. And then Neighbors, where they're at the hockey game and Wilson wins the 50-50. I think that one's kind of fun as well. So just not top 3, but on the periphery. So
On the periphery. Yeah, I never like when neighbors are fighting, so I don't know if I love that one. But
it's too close to home, I guess. That's why you're trying to put up a fence.
I can't afford it. All right, bottom 3.
Yeah.
I really had 2 clear-cut ones, and the third one I just kind of felt like you could throw in a few. But
Okay.
I'm going to say my number 1, which is in the running for worst episodes of all time. Most certainly we will be talking about this next week in our series in summation.
Yes.
Is Home Alone,
Ding, ding, ding.
where Tim is at home mostly talking to himself as he tries to write a book, and it just seems like such a weird episode. Not particularly funny. There's no one else in the episode really. Just it was like, what are we doing here?
Well, no one else
type
except
of
for
thing.
Oprah and, hey, someone say Jay? What do we have here? Yeah, no, it's probably the worst episode ever. I'm going to say probably because I want to keep some of the mystery for next week. It's just really grating and really annoying, and Tim, he just seems so impossibly stupid. You wonder how this guy could put pants on, just like the sound effects and the nonsense. It's terrible, and that would be my number 1.
Yeah. What's another one on your list?
Yeah, but you gotta have a J here, right? Another that's my number 1. My number 3, I'll jump to that one. Dead Weight. We just covered it pretty recently.
Oh yeah.
This is just sort of like when it felt like they decided to wrap up the show, and they
It's
tried
like,
to.
okay, halfway through the episode, we got to finish this.
Yeah, they tried to do everything all at once. So Al's mom dies, and you just get so many terrible weight jokes, and that was really they just tried that. She falls, and there's an earthquake, and it's so stupid. All of these different kind of plots sort of tried to get tied together, and there are people coming in and out of scenes, and it doesn't really make sense. It just felt really rushed. I hated the weight jokes, and it just, I don't know, it just didn't feel like Home Improvement. It felt like some other sort of silly, stupid show. And I don't like Antonio. I should be happy that I didn't have to see him anymore, but I was mad because I had to see him one more time.
You would have been happier if he was the dead weight.
No earthquake, though, and then we missed that great gag.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That one is not on my list, but I can see why it made it there for you. I think at some point Brad also goes to comfort Heidi or something.
Yeah, right.
It's just like,
Enough.
yeah, enough of that. Brad is more than one-dimensional, right? It's soccer and babes. That's it.
Babes. Babe.
All right. Next one on my list was the ever-grading Ploys for Tots, and we get a lot of Gracie and her sister, and I can't remember her sister's name.
I don't
at
know,
this point.
Kaylee or some shit. I don't know. Macy.
Marty's girls. Gracie and Macy.
We stayed in Barbie Expo 99, right?
And there's a lot of her screaming and stuff and throwing temper tantrums, and then Marty doesn't know how to parent and is really upset that Tim and Jill try to help, and it's just what are we doing here? And then they kind of just disappear from the show after that, which is a great thing, but it's a terrible episode and kind of borderline unwatchable, especially when you're just listening to a little girl scream the whole time.
Had that as an honorable mention for me. One wonders if they didn't try to introduce the twin subplot, if they could have spent more time on the actual show, and then the ending wouldn't have felt so rushed. I don't know. Crazy idea. But yeah, I echo that, and I also hate those little girls. My number 1, or not my number 1, my number 2, but my last one for this bottom 3 eps is the opening episode of season 8, Whitewater.
What, you don't like Kyle?
Killer Kyle. Yeah, I don't. It's been a long time since we covered it, but like I just remember a lot of like really bad "he's insane" jokes, and like the voices in my head won't shut up. Like that guy was just really over the top. Tim is like a really big baby throughout the episode, and like it is a lot of like extreme whitewater rafting cam, and then in the end they have to like pull together because Kyle leaves, and it's just like, oh wow, we survived on a rapid for 5 seconds. I think it's a really bad episode. I hated it. The jokes were bad. It wasn't funny. I felt like as a show, Home Improvement kind of suffered a lot with the on location episodes, and this was one of those where it just like didn't have the normal Home Improvement feel, and the timing was kind of off, and the show just didn't work as a result. So.
My last one. I don't have a lot to say about that.
I can't believe you didn't have Whitewater.
It was certainly, if I did honorable mentions, it was right there.
All right.
Maybe this was a little bit more fresh in my mind because that was, 26 weeks ago, 6 months ago, I guess that would be. Yep. This one is Loose Lips and Freudian Slips, and that was more recent, but we get a lot of like...
Yeah. Yeah, bad.
Jill like making really dumb bald jokes, and we got that character. I don't remember the doctor's name now.
Hanover. I mean, Comeover.
Dr. Hanover's son, who is just like really strange.
Call him by his name. It's Gregory.
I don't remember. He wasn't that interesting to me.
It's Gregory.
It was not an interesting episode. Gregory, you loved him.
Yeah, I did.
Maybe you kind of felt a little bit of a kinship with him. He was like you when you were younger.
So I was chubby. Is that what we're getting at here? Finally, it only took 4 years for you to call me fat.
I was gonna do it on the dead weight jokes, but I waited. No, it's like Jill not really being able to defend her thesis when no one really even asked us questions. And you and I have talked at length about how like her going to school has just never really been that interesting, unfortunately.
It just took too long. It
was 8 seasons.
Yeah.
It was the first season when they brought that up.
Yeah.
And so Loose Lips and Freudian Slips is my last one.
I didn't have that in honorable mention even, but as you describe it, it was pretty bad.
I felt like there are a lot on the periphery that could have moved into worst.
A couple of ones I had here, honorable mention. I had Ploys for Tots, and I also had Thanks But No Thanks, which is just basically another Twins episode.
Yeah.
The worst thing they ever tried to do, I would say, maybe on Home Improvement, was this twin thing that they thought they were going to try at the end of the show. Really bad. I also had Home for the Holidays, which isn't in and of itself a terrible episode, but like I really didn't enjoy it just for the fact that like it's a Christmas episode. And it's the last episode with Randy, and it's just...
I remember you being really bummed.
It's so depressing. It's such a bummer, and it's just, like, not what you want at all. So was it one of the worst? No, but it was definitely among the most disappointing for me. It's just a really bad send-off for the character, I felt. You know, so...
Yeah, I don't have a lot to add there. I do remember you being very bummed, so I'm not surprised it's on that list for you. So
I'm getting worked up just thinking about it.
I know you are. JTT was good in the episode, though.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
All right. Best guest stars?
Let's do it. I had a hard time with this.
I had a very hard time as well. I have one and a question mark.
There weren't that many. Shockingly.
No, there weren't.
Yeah.
I mean, there were like little moments,
okay.
but not like big moments. So the number one guest star I had was in an episode that you already mentioned, which was, now I can't think of the name, but it's the one where Love's Labor's Lost Part 2, where Polly Holiday comes and reprises her role as Lillian Patterson. And just kind of the moment that she has there with Jill, and specifically she makes the joke about how the Colonel was saluting her in such excess that the crowd goes wild, and she has to like she has to like she has to laugh like twice because the crowd loves it so much.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
No, it's a great performance. Polly Holiday, class act, and the best guest star of season 8.
I'm surprised we're calling her guest star.
I mean, she's not a main.
It's true. Yeah.
Cast member.
Yeah, I suppose I could push back on it. It's the finale. I don't want to fight. I don't consider her a guest star. But hey, that's
we already had a fight about the ending of the series.
Blow up. No, she's definitely deserving, depending on how you categorize guest stars. Maybe I'm just mad because I didn't think of it that way, and she would have been better than anyone I have. All right.
You made her your season MVP then, huh?
Well, the Colonel, 6 Feet Under is my season MVP, but number 3 for me, and this just shows how few guest stars there were. Give me Kenny Rogers in The Long and Winding Road Part 2. Hell of a song that I can't even remember the name. Oh, We've Got It All. I couldn't think of anything better, so I put Kenny.
I
like the song, and he's very famous. That's all I got.
Kenny Rogers Chicken.
Oh, that bird can't last here.
Can I say my other one that I have a question mark next to?
I mean, if this one has a question mark next to it, I can't imagine. All right, go ahead.
I wrote Jeff Taylor question mark.
Well, you're missing one out. I mean, I think you're missing an obvious one. Jeff Taylor as a guest star. I mean, sure, Jordan, if that's how we're doing this.
He gets together with Carrie.
Yeah.
We find out that he's actually kind of cool and successful.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still a little weird. That's why he has a question mark next to him. But
Okay.
yeah.
All right. I had for number 2 Jenny McCarthy and Young at Heart.
Yeah, you're right. That's good.
That was the one that I thought maybe you'd have. I think she's pretty good in it, and there aren't a lot of guest stars, so like it's good enough. I think she played the role well. I bought it. She serves her purpose. Not a big Jenny McCarthy fan, but like she's probably the most famous person to be on the show this season, and she performed well enough, so she's my number 2.
She was a big fish in a small pond, you know?
That's true. Number 1, give me Penn and Teller in Knee Deep.
Oh my gosh, I just didn't.
Did you? How much time did you spend on this?
No. I wouldn't have put them on
Really?
there. I felt like that whole scene was so weird and just out of place, so I just didn't.
You also didn't like Alan Jackson, so I guess you're just kind of against it when they obviously don't have ideas and yet they have famous people.
I liked Alan Jackson. Don't get me wrong.
All right, Penn and Teller. I like Penn and Teller. I liked them doing magic, and I liked it on this show, and that's about all I got for you.
My problem was they were trying to take shine away from Sir Larry Houdini.
That's true, and yeah, you have always gone to bat for that guy. Would I say that I don't think any of these performances would probably be in another season's top 3 guest stars, but yeah, we just didn't get a ton this year, which you would think as a show goes on and gets more and more popular that there would be a lot, but...
Yeah, you would think they would try to lean on that too, knowing that like season 8 is kind of a crapshoot here.
Yeah, like there weren't even were there any athletes this season even? Maybe Grant Hill was in one. I can't remember if that was this season or last, but...
I feel like it was last, but
yeah.
It's also been forever since the start of the season.
Right, so least... I had Marty's twins, the Mastication Kid, and Kyle. They've all come up already, but those were my least favorite guest stars. And I didn't like any of them at all.
The Mastication Kid.
Yeah. I don't masticate in public. All right, well.
Is that a new show, The Mastication Kid?
It's a sequel to Kid Nation.
Well, that's our next podcast. We already talked about that.
Limited Run podcast, yeah. Pod Nation. All right, Jordan, season MVP, who you got?
I really struggled with this.
Okay.
I really
If you say
struggled with
Polly
this.
Holiday, I'm going to be mad.
Similar to guest stars, I didn't feel like there was a really clear-cut person here. So I gave it to someone that I'm pretty sure I haven't given the MVP to before.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't go back and look.
Same.
I just don't remember giving this to this character before. So give me Patricia Richardson as Jill Taylor as the season MVP. Mm-hmm. Some things happened on the show and some things off the show. So she directed an episode, the only female to do it during the run.
Awesome. Yep.
Big ups. She finally finished school and she got a job, although I think she turned it down. And then I wrote as the third thing, she kept the Taylors in Detroit where they belong. So maybe
only one of those things is actually true, though. You know.
I don't know. I mean, she has some emotional moments in the last episode.
Hysterectomy,
Hysterectomy as well. So there's some bigger episodes that she's kind of the focal point for.
Right.
And I just didn't feel like anyone really rose above anybody else for me. But I'm interested to hear who you've got.
I think I would agree with that. I also chose someone that I don't think I've ever chosen before. Now, I could be wrong. I don't remember.
Mark Taylor.
The Colonel or like Jay Leno. maybe I have chosen this person, but it doesn't matter. I wanted to reward them again. I chose Wilson as my season MVP.
Okay.
I think I've mentioned this before, but I think I started to take Wilson for granted. I think consistency needs to be rewarded. You know, he's in every episode. He's always at the fence. He's always doing his thing. He's an integral part of the show. One of the most well-known parts of the show, as we mentioned earlier. He brought the heat for 8 seasons. Wasn't always great. Was good in the beginning. I felt like was pretty good at the end. Maybe in the middle, a little middling. When they tried to expand him out to know his work. But he was always good at the fence. We always played clips there. I thought he was really good in the finale. I like his celestial moon joke. I'm sad that he died shortly after the show ended. I'm going to miss Wilson in the fence sequences. I'll miss them most among the parts of Home Improvement. And whenever I flip onto Laugh TV and I see Tim at the fence, I will always feel, always have good,
get a warm, fuzzy
I always have good
feeling
feelings
inside.
about that. And I like Wilson a lot, so he's my season MVP. But it's more of a lifetime achievement award, if I'm being honest. So
Same for me.
yeah, all right.
They deserve some recognition.
Do you think I've chosen Wilson before?
I don't know, man. I feel like you definitely chose Brad last season.
I for sure did. I definitely have chose PR, and I've definitely.
I know I've done Tim, and I know I've done
definitely
Randy.
Tim. I don't know if I've done Randy. I probably did.
It would be interesting to figure out who we've done for all these seasons, because there's been 8, and we've done it for 8
I know, and
seasons.
I can only think of like 4. I must have done Wilson before. It would be.
There
almost
must have been some
impossible.
repeats.
Yeah.
There must have been.
All right. Well,
All you home and podcast super fans, you can tell us.
all you sleuths out there.
All right, that is the very last season in summation.
Wow.
So I guess we should open the mailbag.
Wow, I don't know we had mail.
Well, we don't have mail necessarily, but it's social media / mailbag.
Let's do it.
So I've got something from YouTube here. Recently, we have a new super fan called Randall Reader on YouTube.
What's he doing on
And-
YouTube? He should be hunched over a paperback. Still got it.
Anyway, Randall Reader has been commenting on a lot of our season in summation episodes, talking about his top 5.
He likes to skip to the end. He's like, I don't want to hear you guys talk about each one. Just summarize, your findings.
That's right, and so I'm not going to list all of the different things there. He's listed his top favorite Randy moments, his top episodes and stuff from each season. But I did want to call out, he commented on our Carmen Finestra interview.
Yeah.
And he enjoyed the interview. He liked all of our other interviews as well. Yep. And he says he was hoping we could do an interview with all the Taylor boys, and we wish we were too, and it just never happened. So
Not for lack of effort.
sorry, Randall.
Yeah,
sorry to disappoint, but I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't think
so. Randall also said something. In his mind, season 8 never happened. He liked the ending of season 7 so much that he just in his Home Improvement canon, season 8 never happened.
How does season 7 end? Good question.
Yeah, I don't remember. That was a long time ago.
See, now that's interesting. I know people have that opinion that season 8 was like terrible. I didn't feel that way, but to each their own.
To each their own. Adam, do you have anything from Twitter?
Yeah, I do. Let's see here. Finding it. All right, 2 polls. The episode came out today, last week's episode, so these are 4-hour polls. So, lack of response.
Early on polls.
All right, question 1. Should the Taylors have relocated to Indiana? I didn't get any responses telling me they didn't, so I don't know. 22 votes. 18.2% said yes, 81.8% said no. Now, next week, I'll do a poll, did they actually go to Indiana? We'll see what people say.
I think people think they did, but I think they don't, if you actually read it closely. We should play the clip
All right, I will.
right before.
Okay, Jordan, I will. Get off my back.
None of that Daily Motion crap, though.
Well, where else do you want me to get it? We've Got It All by Kenny Rogers is a blank. Here are your options. Sweet tune. Sappy piece of crap. Fine song. Perfect choice for Home Improvement. What do you think won?
How do you even delineate between those choices? Perfect for Home Improvement.
Ding, ding, ding. 10 total votes. 0% said fine song. 10% said sappy piece of crap. 30% said sweet tune, 60% said perfect choice for home improvement.
Everybody loves Kenny Rogers.
Hey, you know what?
You gotta know when to hold them, know when to fold them.
Know when to walk away, know when to run. You never count your money when you're at the table. That's all I got, Jordan. So, yeah.
Well, we'll wait for those polls to mature.
No, Jordan,
maybe...
they're done. I cut them off. They're 4-hour polls. That's it.
I guess you have to do the poll today for if the Taylors moved to Indiana or not, because otherwise we're not going to have enough data for the next recording.
You are right. And speaking of the next recording, Jordan, what are we doing?
Next week.
On the
time.
final episode of Home Improvement. 4 years ago, you met Home and Podcast. Now it's time to say goodbye.
Yes, it is. We're going to be covering Backstage Pass and our series in summation. I'll let you explain what we're doing for series in summation because it's kind of your brainchild, and I'm excited because I think you've got some good ideas.
Okay. Backstage Pass, I would say, is going to not take up too much time next week. Mostly
just because, anything that we watch and notice, and that's
yeah,
interesting,
right.
right?
Like, I don't even think I'm going to be taking a ton of notes. But I think it's like long. I don't know. I think it might be an hour. I hope it's not though. Do you have any idea how long it is?
It would make sense if it were an hour because it's kind of like a whole wrap-up thing. So
yeah,
I wouldn't be shocked.
So we are going to talk about that, but most of it's going to be our series in summation. So what that's going to be is we have some lists, some countdowns. Jordan, I'm going to ask you to adhere to giving an actual order on these if you can. So that means 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, not just that you have 5. So we're going to be talking about, some obvious things will be best episodes, worst episodes, favorite guest stars, things like that. And we're going to, I've got a lot of questions we're going to go through. We're going to go back and forth. It's going to be a really in-depth discussion on the show Home Improvement from season 1 to season 8 in totality. We're going to get deep. We're going to get shallow. We're going to reminisce on the good times and the bad. And we're going to leave it all on the table because, baby, we ain't coming back. All right?
Wow.
And we're going to cover some Twitter stuff. I mean, I will say not a ton of people like saying goodbye, necessarily, which isn't super surprising. But we're going to talk about some things people have said on Twitter in terms of what they wanted us to talk about, or lists, or rankings, or favorite memories, things like that. So,
well, I'm excited. It will be a lot of work, but totally worth every second. And then after that, everyone will be treated to a bonus Halloween episode, which is ready to come into your feed right before Halloween. So I hope everyone enjoys that.
Not Home Improvement related whatsoever.
No, there is. I mean, we maybe mentioned Home Improvement once, but it's in honor of Home Improvement.
That's right. Well, hey, Jordan, it's been a pleasure talking to you. And I'm going to mess it up. Jordan, listeners, thank you for listening. Jordan, it's been a pleasure talking to you. And I guess did I mess it up? I'm in my own head about it. Jordan, thank you for joining me. Listeners, thank you for listening. Not for one final time, because we're coming back next week. But I will say, take care.
Take care, everybody.